Hello and welcome to Gardening with Ben's award-winning podcast, as voted by Grow Your Own magazine and by my followers and listeners. So if you're new to the podcast, make sure you click that subscribe button to stay up to date with all our podcasts, listen back to all our previous episodes, sit back, grab a brew and let's enjoy today's episode. Hello everyone and welcome to Gardening with Ben in 2022. It's a brand new year, a time to enjoy yourselves in the garden and recording these podcasts especially for you. So sit back, relax and let's get on with today's podcast. Well, we started off the new year by going down to the allotment yesterday and also today. I didn't go down on New Year's Day. I didn't get in till 4:30 in the morning. But it was New Year and it was a time to celebrate. For the year that we've had, it was time for me to let my hair down, enjoy myself and forget all my troubles and wipe the slate clean, ready for a brand new year. And I'm certainly doing that, and this year is going to be absolutely phenomenal on my allotment, on my blogs, on my posts, on my podcasts, on everything. You will be sick of the sight of me. Don't unsubscribe from this channel. But yes, we will be out there with a bang, and we've all already started sharing absolutely lots of bits and bobs here and there all over the place. So please do keep subscribing to my channels and enjoying what I do. And from the amount of people that are listening to my podcasts, it certainly is doing well, so thank you for that. Let's see if we can manage to double the amount of subscribers next year. I think we've got 278 subscribers on Spotify, so let's hopefully try and double it for next year. So what has 2022 got in store for me at the allotment? Well, I've started down at the plot. I've started work, which is good because sometimes it takes me a bit to get going in the new year, but I started strong. I've started clearing a border down the side of my plot where I've got some raspberries growing, but that's it really. There's nothing else much in this border, and all the other borders I've put spring bulbs in, but I've not got round to putting any in this border yet. So that'll be next year's plan. When I plant my thousands of spring bulbs at the end of this year, I'll be planting loads more in the borders that I haven't got them in at the moment. So that's the plan for the end of the year. But before I plant them in at the end of the year, I'm going to use these borders to grow flowers in. And some of my other borders looked absolutely stunning with the flowers that were growing in them this year. But I'm hoping, if all goes well, to make more flowers on my plot and grow as many as possible, because there is so many different types of flower seeds out there which are easy to grow if you put your mind to it. And I've only tried a few different packets of seeds at the moment, different flower seeds, so I'm wanting to try as many different varieties of flowers as I can as possible this year. That is going to be my mission. So my plot is going to be absolutely blooming with flowers, and hopefully that will attract the bees, the insects, to help pollinate everything that's growing on my plot. I just want it to look a picture of sight, and you never know, I may enter the council's best allotment on site this year, because I've never really concentrated on doing it. I think I entered back when I first got my plot about 16 years ago, and I came second or third or something like that. But this year I'm looking at maybe possibly going for it big and strong this year, making my plot look absolutely stunning for the competition. So fingers crossed we will go for that. Obviously I won the best gardening podcast last year for the Grow Your Own magazine, and that did me the world of good. It boosted me and got me doing these podcasts again, because I had a bit of a long break from it. I wasn't consistent. even though I recorded over 100 episodes last year, which is phenomenal because some podcasters don't record an episode until every week, so they only record 52 episodes a year. But I try to record as many as possible because people are listening to it. People enjoy these podcasts, and I love sharing tips and advice, and sometimes I just talk and waffle on. But I get messages from people all the time asking when's my next podcast coming, how much they've enjoyed it, how much they enjoy listening to it, how much it relaxes them. So please do keep sending those messages because it does encourage me to keep doing these podcasts. And when I get a message through, I'm like, oh, I best record another podcast now. So keep sending those messages, keep pushing me on, and keep encouraging me. So you never know, we may get 200 episodes this year. So do click that subscribe button to stay up to date with all the episodes whenever they get published. But they are every so often, so sometimes I have a good week and record a load of episodes like last week, but some weeks I drag on a bit. But yeah, hopefully plenty of episodes. So we've been clearing this bed for the flower borders, and as I'm doing stuff, I'm thinking of ideas to do, and I'm thinking of changing the layout of my fruit area because it's been the same for about 6 or 7 years now, and this border doesn't have a path at the side of it. It's got black membrane at the side of it, so I can easily walk on it, but I do like the paths, having paths down, so that I can just walk straight up and sort the beds out if possible. So I'm looking at getting a path for that, but I'll obviously have to buy some paving stones for to walk on. I do like proper paths if possible. So every episode that gets published on here, I earn about £1 from. So while you're listening to these episodes, obviously I'm earning £1, so it's going towards the paving slabs. So you're doing your little bits towards buying stuff for my allotment. So I'm hoping to get some paving stones to go down this side. So that is the plan. So that's that job. Then I've also been doing some pots with some herbs in, to grow some herbs in some pots, which I've shared a video on Instagram and on YouTube for, which I'm looking forward to them growing because I've not really concentrated on growing herbs. I've got a few herbs growing on my plot. I've got lemon balm, I've got some thyme, but that's it really. I've not really got any herbs. I've purchased a few mint plants from the pollen market which I go to, which is on the third Sunday of every month in Sheffield, where they sell plants what you can grow at home or in the house and stuff like that. So I've got some herbs growing, so I'm wanting more herbs to grow on the allotment, not necessarily just to eat, just to attract the bees, because some send flowers out and bees absolutely love the herbs as well, and obviously they look good as well. So I'm wanting to grow some more herbs on my plot, so I'm looking at lots of different varieties of herbs to grow. So that's that. So what else have we been up to? We have also been making some bird feeders. Yes, I've been making my own bird feeders, and I'm going to be sharing a video on that on Instagram or YouTube in the next couple of days, so make sure you stay tuned for that one. And whenever you see a video that I share on Instagram or YouTube, please do share it, because the more people that see it, the more people that subscribe to stuff that I do, and the outreach gets lots bigger and bigger and bigger. So please do keep sharing my stuff. So we've done that. So next up we will be sorting out the pruning of my cooking apple tree, which is going to be really complicated because I don't want to prune it too much, because it didn't have many cooking apples on it last year, so I don't want to upset it, because I gave it a really good pruning the year before. So we need to really look out for this cooking apple tree and take it carefully at what we do to do it. So we've got that to sort out, and I've got a couple of my apple trees to sort out and my pear trees, so we've got that pruning to do. So we won't be back down on the allotment now for another 4 days, as I'm working for the next 4 days, so they'll be on coming in 4 days time. So we've got that to do. Then we've also got, I've been looking at my strawberry bed. My strawberries have been in the same bed for the last 5 or 6 years. I keep replacing the plants obviously all the time, but they've been in the same beds for the 5 or 6 years, and I'm tempted to move them to the side of where my polytunnel is and have that as my other fruit area. Down one side is my main fruit area where I grow my fruit trees, my rhubarb, my raspberries, but down the other side is just beds that I've used for like garlic, for onions, potatoes. But I'm looking at making that into a proper fruit area as well, where I can grow different varieties of fruit. So we've got that to do. So I want to have my strawberry plants in. I'm looking at getting some some yellow raspberries, because I do like the look of them. They do look really interesting. So I'd like them in the new fruit area. And also I'm wanting a grapevine in it. Now, I was watching a show all about grapes the other week, and how people have done fantastic crops from growing grapes outside. I've got my polytunnel, which I can grow them in if I want to, but I don't want it taking over my polytunnel. So I'm going to look at varieties that you can grow outside in the UK to grow down the side of my plot, because fruit is something that I definitely do eat. Some of the vegetables that I grow, I don't eat them, I give them away. But fruit is something that I'll always eat. And it's so easy to eat, you don't have to prepare it, you don't have to cook it. Yes, I am lazy. But you don't have to cook it. So I'd love to grow some grapes down the side of my plot. And also I'm wanting to look at growing some loganberries. I'd love them down the side of my plot as well, and some thornless blackberries as well. Like I said, fruit is something that I do eat, so I'm going to be looking at extending my fruit plants this year and possibly growing them all down the side of my other plot. So the more fruit that you have on your plot, the more money you save, because fruit is so expensive to buy in the shops. And most fruit, what you grow in your allotment, you can freeze it. So you are saving money by growing your fruit, and you can just keep having a bit every day, and it could last you for the next year until the fruit starts producing again. So the more fruit you can grow on your plot, the better outcome that you will have. So if you can grow fruit all the way down the sides of your plot, go for it. Make the most of every little bit of space of your plot as possible. The people grow stuff on fences now, they grow stuff on side of sheds. Make the use of every little space as much as possible, and that is my plan. I'm going to plan on growing more stuff on the side of my shed, on my fences, stuff like that. So this year is going to be one massive jump up on how much I'm actually going to be doing on the plot, because it's going to take a lot of time, a lot of effort to get all these plants started and get them growing. But once we've got all these fruit plants growing, they'll come back each year, because fruit plants do. So once you've put the time and effort into doing them in the first place, you will reap the rewards for years and years to come. So we've got all that to do. So what else have we been up to on the plot? We have planted our first lot of onion seeds today, as I'm growing them from seed again this year. I'm going to try that. So they did really well last year, so we planted 3 varieties. We planted Elisa Craig, we planted Sturgeon, and we have planted something called Ryanburger, something like that. Sounds something like that anyway. But we've planted them. So we've got them in our greenhouse sown. I've also sown some aubergines. I've never grown aubergines from seed before. I purchased a plant once before from Morrison's, and I got a few on it, but I've never really properly grown them from seed. So we're going to give them a try this year. That is something new which we are going to grow down on the plot this year. So I'm looking forward to that. And also I have got ideas of other stuff, new stuff, what I want to grow, but you'll have to stay tuned for that. So make sure you do click that subscribe button, because we've got lots of ideas of new stuff I want to try and grow. My plot is going to look like an absolute jungle come summer with the amount of stuff that I've got growing on there. It's going to take a hell of a lot of watering and hopefully not much weeding, because the more space that you fill up with plants, the weeds won't grow. That is the theory. So we have got a massive job on his hands, and it's a good job I've got my massive shed to start them all off in, and that needs a lot of work doing to it. So the quicker we get our allotment tidied, and then we have our polytunnel down on our allotment, which I didn't make use of last year, as I didn't have the time to get down to the allotment to water stuff at all last year. So we didn't make use. There were no point starting tomato plants off in there, because I knew I wouldn't be able to look after them, or cucumber plants. So we're going to be looking at getting my polytunnel back into full action and getting lots of different varieties of tomatoes growing down in the plot this year. So I'm looking forward to sharing the story of how they get on and sharing how well they do, because I do love tomatoes. Again, like fruit, tomatoes are very easy and you can just eat them all the time, so there's no preparation into them whatsoever, so you can just keep nibbling on a tomato while you sat there working from home and eating healthy at the same time. So that is the plan, to get that back into action and working again, as it does need a lot of clearing out again, because I just dumped stuff in there to keep it dry. So we've got all that to tidy out, so we have got an absolute load of stuff to be getting on with. And then I'm starting a new YouTube show called Gardening with Ben, obviously, which is going to be broadcast once a week, where I'm going to be sharing what I've got up to that week in the plot, and what I've planted, what I've done, any gardening tips, any gardening advice, and I will share that all with you in this video. And that's going to be broadcast once a week. It'll be around 20 to 30 minutes long, and each week I'll give a guided tour of my plot, of how it's looking, how it's shaping up, how we're getting on with it, if we're completing these jobs, what seeds are being germinating, what are growing, what's not doing very well. I'm always honest with if I am doing rubbish on the allotment. I always share the nitty gritty stuff of everything, because when you see other people's allotments, they won't show you all the rubbish and all the stuff what's not growing well. They'll only show you all the good stuff. So I'm very open about how everything grows on the plot, and I do love to share it all with you. So that is one thing that's going to be broadcast, so I'm looking forward to that. I've filmed all the stuff for my first episode, so if you're not following me on YouTube, please do subscribe to that channel, because I'm hoping to get it monetized eventually. You have to get 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hour views, and I've got the 1,000 subscribers, but I've just not got the views yet. So please do subscribe to it and do watch the full length of the videos, and hopefully, and everything that I earn from like these channels, I put it back into the allotment. So I'm putting it back in to give you the content that you want to see, and it does take a lot of time and effort. Like these podcasts obviously take around 15 to 20 minutes to record, and then I have to put it all together and then upload it, and then I have to share it and promote it and stuff like that. So please do support me in everything that I do, and I appreciate those that do and keep sharing stuff what I do. It does mean the world to me, and hopefully one day I may be able to retire and do the allotment full time, but I doubt it somehow. I don't think I'll ever get that famous, but you never know. Somebody from TV might be listening, and they might say, yes, we'll put Gardening with Ben on Channel 5 with all the other Yorkshire programmes. I put it on my Instagram the other day, asking what programmes people like to watch, what gardening shows people like to watch, and people commenting saying that there's not one allotment TV show just dedicated to allotments. And I says, maybe I'll have to start my own up. And somebody agreed, and they said, yeah, you'll have to put your answers to BBC One, and I said, well, it's Channel 5 who like all the Yorkshire programmes, and obviously I'm from Yorkshire, so hopefully Channel 5 are listening and they'll pick me up and promote me and have my own TV show with the farmers as well, what's on there, what used to be opposite to where I used to work as well. So yeah, it's always good to see Yorkshire programmes on TV. So we've got absolutely loads planned for 2022, not 2021. So we've got absolutely loads planned for 2022, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with you on all these podcasts. So thank you for being massive supporters of Gardening with Ben. I do appreciate it. And as always, remember, keep smiling, keep gardening, and keep listening to Gardening with Ben's podcasts. So thank you for listening to today's episode of Gardening with Ben. We hope that you've enjoyed this episode. Remember to do click that subscribe button to stay up to date with all our podcasts. Feel free to share them on your Instagram stories so that it spreads the word about my podcast and we get lots more listeners. Feel free to check out my social media sites, Facebook and Instagram as well, Gardening with Ben, and also my YouTube channel, to stay up to date with all my handy videos, how-to videos, and sharing my tips and advice. And feel free to check the link as well in the description for my Gardening with Ben t-shirts. Lots of funny gardening design t-shirts in there for you to purchase at great prices too. So thanks again, and as always, remember, keep smiling and keep gardening.